Hey guys, I have another stretching video coming for you, but before we get into it, I wanted to talk about safety with stretching. I mentioned this in our last stretching video, but it's super important, so I wanted to mention it again. There's a difference between pain and discomfort. Pain is an absolute no-go for stretching. If you're feeling any pain whatsoever, you should be coming out of those stretches immediately. Discomfort, however, is pretty common in stretching because you're getting into those deeper muscles, you're activating muscles, you're stretching them, you're working them. So discomfort is common. But if you go into pain from discomfort, then you should stop immediately. So with that in mind, let's get started. This one is going to be all about splits. So whether you have splits or not, this is a great video that you can do multiple times a week as you start working on getting those splits bigger and bigger. So the only thing that I'm going to use is yoga blocks, but you don't need them, so you're totally fine if you don't have any. So to get started, let's go ahead and do a little bit of a warm-up, and we're going to do some squats to get started. So our feet are a little bit wider than our hips, our toes are slightly pointed out, and then we're going to lower down and up. Make sure you're pushing your booty back behind you and your knees are not going over your toes. So we don't want to be here. We want to be here. So booty back. Good. Just a couple more. And 2. And 1. Good. So for the next thing, we're going to come down on our knees. We're just going to step up into a squat and then step back down. We want to try to stay down and not stand all the way up. So this is what I mean. One leg up, other leg down, down. Now we're going to switch. Lead with your opposite leg. Good. If this hurts your knees, you can use like a towel or something like that to put your knees on. Good, 2 more. Last one. Great job. All right, let's do some active flexibility. I'm going to use my yoga block, but again, you don't need it. We're going to get into a child's pose and put one leg out behind us. So this leg is the one I'm activating. I'm going to try to lift this knee up off the ground 10 times. It's a very small movement. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. If you don't have a yoga block, you can just stick that leg out behind you, pull your heel up towards your butt, and try to do the same thing, lifting that leg. Other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. And back to our original side. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Switch it up one more time. Go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. And come on out. Great job. All right, check it out. All right, next thing we're going to do is warm up our quads a little bit. I'm going to get one yoga block out. If you have a book or like a little pillow or something, that'll work great as well. I'm going to have my fingertips out near my knee. I guess that one should be a little bit wider. There we go. Out near my knee, so not up close, so slightly forward. And I'm going to see if I can lift my foot up and over my yoga block. I have to keep my legs super straight and my toe pointed. Good. Back and forth. That's 4. quad should be on fire by the end of that. And we're gonna switch to our other side. Again, make sure those fingertips are out towards your foot. Towards your knee. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lock that leg out. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Shake it out. Great. We're going to do one more set on each leg. Open back up. First leg again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Last one. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lock that leg out. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. My quads are on fire. Great job. All right, take just a second. All right, one more thing up on our feet. We are going to do some leg lifts. I'm going to turn to this side. Whichever leg you're going to stand on, make sure you go ahead and squeeze it and lock it out. So we don't want any bending in that bottom leg. So I'm squeezing tight and locking out. I'm going to point my other leg straight in front of me and keep it also locked out straight. I'm just going to see if I can lift to about hip height without bending either leg. And we're going to do this 10 times. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Switch legs. Make sure you lock out those muscles super tight and lift. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Check it out. One more set on each leg. Lock out that standing leg, tight front leg, and go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. Switch sides. Last one. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. All right, let's come on down to the floor. We're going to start working on our hip flexors. So we're gonna go into a lunge. Again, if your knee doesn't feel good on the floor, you can put like a towel or a sweatshirt or something behind you. I like to use my yoga blocks for balance here, but again, you don't have to have them, and you can also use books as well. So we're going to put one leg forward. I'm gonna slide that foot out further past my knee so that I can push my hips forward, and then my knee is right above my heel. I definitely don't want to see this. This is not good for your knee being this far in front of your heel. So that heel needs to be under the knee when you're in a full stretch, okay? So I'm gonna move this block so you can see. From here, I'm all the way down to where I have a little bit of a stretch here on my hip flexor. So from this position, I'm gonna see if I can lift my belly button up and squeeze my butt down. So this should intensify the stretch right here. So this is relaxed. This is me lifting up in my belly button and squeezing my bum down. So we're gonna hold this position. You should feel a good stretch here. And we're holding. So our butt is super, super tight and our belly button is pulling in, and we have a really intense stretch on the leg. And we're breathing. Couple more seconds. Good. Now you're going to release and sink those hips forward. Good. All right. Now we're going to push our hips back and straighten our front leg. So when we're in this position, we want to be really careful not to open this hip back. We want this hip facing forward the whole time. So we're going to lean forward just a little bit until you feel a good stretch on the bottom of your leg here. We don't want to be rounded in our back. We want to try and have a flat back and almost as if we're trying to stick our booty out behind us. Make sure this hip is closed and straight forward, and you should have a good stretch here. So we're just going to hold for just a second. You can make the stretch more intense if you flex that front foot. Good. All right, I'm going to grab my blocks again. We're going to come back forward to our completely relaxed position. Then from here, we're pulling that belly button up, squeezing that butt, and holding. So those muscles should be shaking, keeping those lower abs super tight, squeezing that booty down, pulling that belly button in. And relax and hold. So each time you relax, you should be able to get just a little bit further into that stretch. Make sure that back knee is facing the ground and the top of your back foot is on the ground. Good. All right, and we're gonna push back again. That block again. Again, make sure this hip is forward and our hips are square. Flex that foot if you need a more intense stretch. Make sure you're not rounded in your back. If you are rounded, that's what these are for, so you can sit up taller with a flat back. And we're holding big, deep breaths. Hips square, facing forward. Good. And we're going to come back forward into our lunge one more time. So come all the way down to your relaxed position. And then from here, we're lifting that belly up, squeezing the butt down, intensifying our stretch, and holding. Squeeze those muscles tight. You'll be shaking a little bit, that's okay. And relax down into it. Deep breaths. Good. And push back. Good. Last one. Close those hips. Flex that foot if you need it. Flat back. And find that stretch in the front leg. now we're gonna switch and do our opposite leg. So whichever leg you just did, slide your other leg in front. Make sure when you come down into your stretch, that ankle is under your knee. And then from here, we're gonna find our lift in the belly and squeezing our back bum. Tight, big, deep breaths. Holding those muscles really tight. They should start shaking. Good, and relax. Some big deep breaths here. Keep that back knee flat on the ground, and the top of your back foot should be on the ground as well. Good, push back. Find those square hips. Our hips shouldn't be sticking out. They should be square and facing forward, flat back. This is my tighter side, so I'm going to use the yoga blocks to keep my back flat here. You should have a really good stretch up the back of your leg. And now we're going to shift forward again. Hips going forward, knee above our heel. And we're going to lift and push the belly, or push the bum down and squeeze, hold tight. Use those muscles. They should be super, super shaky. If the camera was closer to me, you could see my legs shaking. Doing good. Big breaths. Good, and relax. Breathe. Good, keep that back leg down, knee down, top of the foot down. Good, and push back, square those hips, flat back, make sure those hips aren't out, square, and stretch that hamstring. Good, couple more seconds here. Good, and last time, pushing forward, lifting that belly, tucking that bum, and hold, squeeze tight. Big deep breaths. Get that good stretch. Keep squeezing, keep squeezing. Good, and relax. Let those muscles relax. Hips should kind of slide down to the ground. Should still feel a stretch, but you're not squeezing all those muscles. And last push back, square those hips, flat back, and stretch that hamstring out. So we were doing active stretching for the front of our hip, which is our lunge. And then this hamstring stretch right here is passive, so we're not actually squeezing anything in this. So the next thing we're gonna do is some active hamstring stretches. Good. All right, you can come on out. We're gonna lay on our back. These will take just a second to figure out, and that's okay. We're gonna grab one knee and we're gonna pull it as close to our chest as we can get it. Everybody might be a little bit different here, and that's okay. So as close to your chest as you can get it, I'm holding behind my knee here. Now I'm actively going to try and straighten this leg without letting my knee come away from my chest. So I won't be able to do it. That's about as close as I can get, and then release. So I'm actively using my quad, squeezing my quad as hard as I can to get my leg as straight as I can. Holding and then releasing. So this is actively stretching that hamstring. So we're gonna do 10, ready? Squeeze, hold, and release. Squeeze, hold, and release. Good, that's 2. 3. My leg immediately starts shaking when I do this. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Switch to your other leg. Grab behind that knee. Pull the chest, pull the knee into the chest, and go. Squeeze. 1, 2. Make sure you pause at the top. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good. Rest for just a second, and we're gonna do them again. So when I do these, as I'm straightening them, my foot is literally like shaking from trying to straighten it. So that's okay if you feel shaky, that's good. All right, let's start with our first side again. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Make sure you find that pause. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Good. I heard somebody call it the Chihuahua foot because Chihuahuas are always sitting and shaking. All right, last side. Here we go. Ready? 1. Maybe you can see it in the video. I doubt it. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Good job. Take a little bit of a break. Okay, one last hip opener before we actually go down into our splits and find out where our split is. I'm gonna face the camera so you can see what I'm doing. I'm up on my knees, gonna bring one foot forward, and I'm gonna slide that foot out in front almost straight and then turn my toe out to the side. Then from here, I'm gonna let this back hip sink down, and I'm gonna see if I can come forward and get my elbows on the floor with this foot turned out away from me. Now, some of you might not be able to get here, and if you have like a book or something, or a yoga block, you can put your elbows on that. So you're gonna hopefully feel this stretch in the outer hip area here, as well as your hip flexor here. So we're just gonna hold here and breathe. Couple more seconds. Good. All right, come on up. Slowly. And we're gonna switch sides. Leg out straight in front of you. Turn the toe out to the side, coming forward, and finding our spot. This is my tighter leg, so I'm gonna use a yoga block for this side. And everybody's will look a little bit different, and that's okay. Couple more seconds. And come on up. Good. All right, so for this last section, we're going to be working on sliding down into our splits. The yoga blocks help, especially if you're not all the way into a full split. So I'm going to use the yoga blocks to show you guys what this looks like. So they're going to come in close to my hips so I can really hold and help stabilize myself. I'm going to go ahead and stick one leg forward, just like we did for our lunge. So I'm going to go ahead and lunge forward, and then from here I'm going to start scooting my front leg out. So you might have to stop here. You might be way up here and this is as far as you get, and that's okay. Keep scooting until you can find that straight leg out in front. So everybody's might look a little bit different. You can stop here, you might be here. What we're trying to do is straighten our front leg, feel a stretch underneath as well as our hip flexor, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and slide down into it. What we really wanna look for is this back leg. I don't want your knee turning towards me or the camera. So this means our hip is no longer square. So we need this knee rolled down towards the ground, okay? So if you feel yourself start doing this and opening your hips, that means you've gone too far. So come back up, square your hips, and then try again. We want to keep those hips really squared into our splits. So wherever you are, if you're up here, just pause there, keep that knee down, hips square, and hold. So find your stretch wherever that is, and breathe. See if you can squeeze the back bum, and then engage your front quad as you sit in the space where you're most stretched. Remember, we talked about pain versus discomfort. So make sure it's only discomfort that you're feeling and not pain. If it is pain, make sure you come on out of it. Good, couple more seconds. Keep this hip pressing down. Don't let it lift up off the ground. Good. Big deep breath. And lift up. Great job. All right, let's do our other side. So same thing, you inch forward, watching that back hip, making sure it's staying square. Everybody will be in a different position, that's okay. Make sure you keep this back knee down, don't let it turn out towards the wall. Keep this butt squeezed in the back and your quad squeezed in front. Big deep breath. Couple more seconds. Keep those muscles tight, squeezing that back bum and your quad. that hip is square, the knee is pointing down to the back, to the floor in the back. Good, big deep breath in. Good, and now we're gonna repeat once more on each side. And then you'll be done. Come back to your first original side. Square those hips, watch this knee in the back, make sure it stays down, and slide forward. Get into your spot where you feel the most stretch. Check in, make sure there's no pain. Squeeze the back bum and the quad. So we're not relaxing in this position, we're squeezing actively. Good, almost done. Couple more seconds. Hi. Good, big deep breath in. Lift. Good, last one on your opposite leg. Check in, back knee down. And we're sliding forward, squeezing our bum in the back. Making sure those hips stay square. Squeezing our quad in the front. So if you already have splits and they're really square, this back knee is down, you can be putting one of these under your front foot, and that'll help start working on over splits. But you, again, shouldn't be relaxed in the position. You should be squeezing your quad and squeezing your bum the whole time. Come here. Did you drink too fast? Did you drink too fast? There we go. Good. Excuse my dog while she jumps in the video. Good. Big deep breath in and push out. All right, awesome job, guys. I would recommend doing this video at least twice a week, but not every day, because it can be really intense. But if you're trying to get your splits down, use this video multiple times a week and you'll get there. Thanks for watching.